Excuse me. I just get on here and I checking my hair and which all this stuff that I should have been doing all day. But anyways, it is 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon, and we all know what this means. It's Tuesday tea time. Welcome to everybody. I so appreciate the people that watch my video, whether it is live or in replay. Hi, Beverly. How are you today? If you come on today and you leave your Emily, nice to meet you today here. If you come in and you leave your name, I will give you a shout out. Kathleen DeBow, you are always here with me every time I come on. I so appreciate it. Norma, how are you feeling? I hope that you're feeling a little bit better. So my page is not blowing up, but it is growing. And I'm quite happy with it, the way that it is growing. It's nice and slow, but it's okay. It's steady, if you will. And I think people are starting to kind of recognize that it's not so bad coming to YouTube, right? Plus, I tend to share a lot of stuff. I don't know if you've noticed that from YouTube because I'm here all the time. So it is dreary and thunderstorms this afternoon. We had the two older boys this week, and Truly, how are you? Is this your first time here? So we had the older boys. We were going to take them to the park and a couple of things today, but I don't know. It wasn't a great day. It's just not one of those days where you want to kind of risk being at the park and, anyways. I've gotten really lazy this summer. I got to tell you, I've gotten really lazy this summer about going out. So, what was it? First of all, it didn't get hot. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, thank you for being here today. So, first of all, it wasn't very hot. We had a terrible spring and planting was all late, and I just kind of didn't get into it this year. And last year I spent a lot of money on flowers and stuff. I don't know. I just don't feel like it this year. So I didn't do a lot of gardening, didn't get into that. Then it started to get hot and it got humid right away. Everybody knows how that humidity affects us. It's just terrible. And where I am, we do have a lot of humidity. So, and then the wildfires, and then it's just like, okay, game over. Now a lot of people weren't affected by it, but I certainly was. And now I just kind of feel like every time I look out and I want to go someplace or do something, something else comes up that prevents me from going out. So not having a good year. But other than that, I'm feeling well, and I am blessed to have not had an incident in the hospital this year. Touch wood. I know a lot of people have been sick right now. I know that there's a lot of things that are going around, and there's still some nasty infections out there, right? So we have to be ever careful of what we're touching or who we're running into, that sort of thing, right? Everybody wants to come up to me and give me a hug, and I'm like, whoa, stay away from me. Anyways, bloat, acid reflux, GERD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and gastroencephalic reflux disease. I can't really say it. Gastroesophageal reflux disease, or shortened to GERD. Yeah, I bet, Kathleen. So let's talk about those three things today, because I have been asked by a lot of people to talk about GERD, because I talked about being diagnosed with GERD. Like I needed that a couple of months ago. So I want to talk tonight about my journey. So, bloating, acid reflux, or GERD. Thank you, Beverly. I slaughtered that. I know I did. Thank you very much. And if anybody wants to look it up, you can just look it up on Google under GERD. It comes right up. You don't even have to be able to say it. Yay. So bloating is a feeling that your tummy is overstretched. It happens when the organs in the digestive system are stretched. This can happen when liquid, gas, or solids build up in part of the gut. Your tummy muscles are weak, like those when you have COPD. Acid reflux occurs when the sphincter muscle in the lower end of your esophagus relaxes at the wrong time. And we talked to people about, oh, I got heartburn, I've got acid reflux. People suffer from it all the time, especially you hear it around Christmas and Thanksgiving and that, right? When people are having big, heavy meals and lots of food. This allows the stomach acid to go back into the esophagus. So it comes right back up, and the sphincter doesn't close, so it allows it to come back up. This can cause heartburn and other signs and symptoms. Frequent and constant reflux can lead to GERD. So I worked with a guy like this when I worked at the port, and he had, we never heard of it at the time. We didn't even know, well, I still don't know how to say it. But he had GERD, and he was very young. He wasn't a smoker. It was a very odd thing. It's just something that happens, right? And he suffered miserably from it. I feel really bad for what he went through, because it's always, with having a chronic illness, it's always when you have a chronic illness, when you're going through it, and it's not something like, like cancer or diabetes, something that everybody understands. Those are things that people understand and they go, oh, that's too bad. That's awful. But when you say I have COPD or GERD, nobody seems to care. They don't care. They don't know anything about it, so they don't really care, right? They can't get all weepy-eyed about it, let's put it that way. I hear you, Karen. Now, Karen says that being on prednisone, acid reflux is much worse. And I believe that I did read that someplace in my research, that some puffers that we take, and definitely prednisone, can make acid reflux worse. Nice, because those are the things that we need the most. Those are the things that help us heal, that help our lungs heal, right? And keep us breathing. But it causes reflux. Gastroencephalic reflux disease, or GERD, is a common condition in which the stomach contents move up into the esophagus. Reflux becomes a disease when it causes frequent and severe symptoms or injury. Reflux may damage the esophagus or the respiratory tract. GERD patients have a specifically lower pulmonary function. So this is just one more piece of evidence. This is just one more piece of evidence that GERD and COPD and asthma are kind of connected, right? And there was a lot of reference in there. Now, not everybody who not everybody who has GERD has COPD, but it is GERD is a comorbidity of COPD. So it's something like heart failure. That's like, you have COPD. Okay, well, you can get this. You can have heart failure. You can have GERD. You can have a whole bunch of other things too. But it is thought that about 2/3, one half to 2/3 of the people with established COPD have tested positive for GERD. 2/3, 2/3 of the people. Hi, Terry. Nice to see you join us today. Norma says sometimes it feels like you're having a heart attack. Yeah, I can. It is definitely not pleasant to deal with. I hear you. So let's talk about my journey. Now, I want you to know that I am not a medical person. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. I have never studied medical anything. And I only speak to this from the position of a patient who suffers from it. Okay, so I want you to know that up at the beginning. And because of that, there's a lot of things that I can't include here. Like, I can't include remedies. I can only give you suggestions on things that you might want to do. So I began with bloat, and it quickly intensified to acid reflux. And finally, when I went to an ENT, I was finally diagnosed with GERD. When I was in rest rehab I'm going to say 7 years ago, I was in a program where you stayed in the hospital for the week and you came home on the weekends. And when you were there in the week, you did exercise and education. They fed you, they gave you a bed to sleep in. The nurses were absolutely fabulous. The doctors were intense. And you definitely felt like you were being taken care of. We stayed for the week. We went home on Friday night and we were back by Sunday night. So you got to stay home for the week, and it only lasted about 6 weeks. But you got to stay home for the weekend, and then you went back and they took care of you. I never had so much self-care in all my life. It was fabulous. The first weekend I was home, and I was feeling good because I had just lost 30 pounds of water. And I decided to cook a big roast beef dinner because that's what I do. That's my favorite meal, is roast beef with mashed potatoes and, all the fixings, just like the old days, right? We'd have gravy and mashed potatoes and a couple of vegetables and maybe a salad. And my kids actually called it the sad meal because we had it every Sunday night, and then they couldn't go out after supper because they had to get ready for school. I was pleasantly tired after cooking all day, but I did sit down to enjoy my meal. It seemed like forever since I had eaten this. It was delicious, and I was eating heartily because I knew that within an hour I had to go back to the hospital. Once I was done, I felt a sudden gasping of my breath, like I was having a hard time breathing, and I had been pretty stable up to this point. And I was confused. I was really scared too. Nobody said anything to me about any of this. But when I got back to the hospital, I told the nurses what happened, and they just calmly said, "It's probably bloat." So I carried on as if it was bloat, and I did this for a couple of years. I briefly asked my doctor about it, but he was not interested and simply agreed with me. He said, "Yeah, if you think it's bloat, then that's probably what you've got." I should never have given him the solution, because then he felt that he didn't have to investigate any further. I had done all the investigation for him. But here's the thing, I'm not a medical person, so he shouldn't have believed me. But he didn't investigate any further. He didn't have anything to do with investigating any further. So we went on like that. Now it got worse. Over the years, it got worse, and it got to the point where I was choking. I would get something that would get stuck in my throat, usually bread or cake. It would get stuck in my throat, and I would be gasping for air. In those days, I was journaling, and it was a great help in getting me to understand what was going on and coming to some conclusion about why it was going on, why it was happening. Journaling and seeing the evidence in plain black and white really helps. So I would do charts. I'm a big chart person, and I like to see things at a glance. And I'm a visual learner and all of these things, so I know this about myself. Did you know that if you have bloat, acid reflux, or GERD, are the beginnings of our problems are usually from what we eat and digestion. So most of the time when we have any of these three, our problems begin with what we eat. When I look back at my journal, it was well documented that certain types of foods, the amounts of the food and the speed at which I ate them was an issue. I found that I couldn't tolerate roast beef like I had in the past. It was too heavy a meat. Hi, Rose. Nice to have you join us. And the replay's always up if you want to hear it over again. I could no longer tolerate eating bread. It's not such a big deal for me because I'm not a bread eater anyways, but there are times when you would like to have toast for breakfast, or a hamburger on a bun, or a hot dog on a bun. And these were now things of the past for me. These days for me were over. And as I read in my journal, most of the times that I had problems was heavy meats like roast beef, and anything that was deep fried, fatty, carbonated drinks were out of the question. So foods heavy and high in fats become an issue. No pop or carbonated drinks, no coffee. Make sure you're sitting up straight after eating, or if you can, when you're sleeping. No smoking, no alcohol. Chocolate or fatty foods are out of the question. So for me, one of the biggest things is cake. And I have no idea why. I don't know what the composition of this cake is. But I'm telling you, I can have a piece of cake and take as small a bite as I want to. It gets stuck in my throat. I can't get it down. I can't. The other day, I was just sitting at the table eating like everybody else was. And all of a sudden, everything came up. My mouth, my nose, everything came out. It was just disgusting. I couldn't help it. I was choking to death. I felt like I was choking to death. I probably wasn't. GERD significantly increased the risk of COPD exacerbations by more than 5-fold. So what this research says is that sorry, there's some construction going on next door. Some of the medications that we take can affect GERD and make it worse, or any kind of these problems. So we have to learn to make lifestyle changes. we know we've got this. If you want to know what it's about and how it all happens and all of that, you can go on Google and you can look at it as much as I can. And you probably understand it a lot more than I would, because I just can't. I just have a hard time sometimes with getting all the information in and then regurgitating it. Remember that I'm not a medical person, so blah. Lifestyle changes. We have to learn to control what we can control and let go of the things that we can't. Eating smaller portions more frequently and consuming fewer fatty foods or whole milk products can really improve the number of episodes you have of bloat or GERD. After meals, avoid laying down for at least an hour. Yeah, it sounds like the same for all of us, Beverly, but good for you that you know that. Are they prepared to do anything for you about it? After meals, avoid laying down for at least an hour, and don't eat for 3 hours before going to bed. Wear loose clothing. Pants that are too tight around the abdominal area can push your stomach up and cause the food to go back up your esophagus. Losing weight in a healthy way should help curb your reflux. I'm sorry to hear that, Beverly. So let's talk about the things that we can manage in our GERD and other gastral uncomfortableness. You know, we always have, it's so sad that we not only have to have COPD, but we also have these other core comorbidities, which are, add-ons or caused because of this disease, right? So we talked before about heart failure. I've talked about it quite a bit. Well, it might, Rose. It might help you burp, but I don't know. So, because I'm not a medical person, I can't tell you what the doctor gave me. It's a medication. It's a prescription. So I went right to my doctor and I said, okay, an ENT diagnosed me. I have it. This is what I want. I want something to help me, right? Because depending on what I'm eating and what I'm doing, I could be taking up to 7 or 8 Tums a night, and they're no good. So let's talk about what the things that we can do to manage our symptoms. What we have to control when we have no control of our entire brain, when we have no control over our entire being, the only thing that we can control is our brain. And the way we train our brain is by being mindful and dictating what the episode will look like and how it will feel. With mindfulness, we can control anything. And the secret is taking control and planning. So here's a few tips that I have for eating comfortably and leaving the table without bloat, acid reflux, or GERD. So remember that I am just a person with the disease. That's all I'm speaking from and what I've learned from having GERD. Pay attention when you're eating. When you get to the table, if you are short of breath, wait to recover. If you need to put something over your dinner to keep it warm, do it and just wait until you recover, because hurrying is not an option for us anymore. Never sit down to eat when you're wearing tight clothing. It's just It's just so uncomfortable. You will likely not enjoy your meal. So you wait until you have regained your breath, and then you can eat. Eat less at one time. Think of breaking your meals into 2 or more servings. So, for instance, I don't mean to be cooking all day. I mean, take your breakfast, you've got eggs, toast, fruit. Take the fruit off the plate and leave it for the snack. Have your toast and your eggs and wait for the rest of your meal. By doing that, you can have your fruit as a snack and you won't be overloading yourself. Well, Terry, you have to. You have to break each meal down into 2. Keep a journal of what becomes familiar with the things that you can and cannot eat. You won't know if it's not written down. So even if you just want to take a couple of pieces of paper, do a couple of charts on what you've eaten and how it made you feel, um, the the habit will appear, right? Like you'll start to understand what is causing the problems. Following a food plan is a great way to plan and shop for meals. So George and I are going to do a meal plan um, spreadsheet this weekend, and that's what we're going to go off of, so that we know that what we have in the freezer is what we're going to eat, and we're not going out shopping for anything else. Um, don't overlook snacks. Snacks can be part of your meal. So some of the things that I use for snacks is things like granola bars, slices of cheese, um, pieces of fruit like an apple cut up or a pear cut up. These are the things that I like for snacks, and I make sure that they're in the house. Spend more time to pay attention and concentrate on the solutions for what you're eating and the outcome effects. Change what you can in the present time. So let's sit back in our chairs. Keep your back straight and your shoulders lowered. Oh, it feels so good once you get those shoulders down. It's just amazing how much they can hurt. Place your hands on your lap, palms up. We're concentrating on our breath. So when you inhale through your nose and you exhale through pursed lips, feel the air going down and filling right down inside your body to your stomach. Practicing this now will help you to make it a habit when you need a go to. Just sitting here and doing this for 10 minutes helps me to have a little break, meditate, and think of the solutions that I'm going to come up with. When you get into trouble and you cannot breathe, invite this habit to be your go to. Inhale through your mouth, or inhale through your nose. Take a deep breath into your belly. Hold for 2 seconds and exhale through pursed lips. This kind of breathing also lowers your carbon dioxide, something that we know is a poisonous gas that can hide in amongst the emphysema in our lungs. Remember to keep your thoughts positive. What you say has power. Positive self-talk only. Be kind to others so you can be kind to yourself. Inhale through your nose. Take that breath down into your belly. Hold it for 2 seconds and exhale through pursed lips. Stay in the moment, concentrating on your breath and your solution. Inhale through your nose. Take a breath deep into your belly. Hold it for 3 seconds and exhale through pursed lips. We are slowing our breathing pattern so we can breathe more efficiently. We need to stop breathing with our shoulder muscles. Inhale through your nose and take a deep breath into your belly. Hold for 4 seconds and exhale through pursed lips. Each breath is more important than the last. Inhale through your nose. Take the breath deep into your belly. Hold for 4 seconds and exhale through pursed lips. Notice how relaxed and calm you are. Keeping your eyes closed, focus only on your breath. Deep belly breaths. And exhaling through pursed lips. Notice how calm and relaxed you are. Inhale through your nose and take a deep breath into your belly. Hold it for a few seconds and exhale through pursed lips. Thank you everyone who joined today. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Please, if you would like my page and share it, I'm eternally grateful. Thanks everybody.